What do we study here? The way of the fist, sir. And what is that way? Strike first, strike hard, no mercy, sir. I can't hear you. Strike first, strike hard, no mercy, sir. I love that. I love it. I love it. I really do. What's up, warriors? This is Kyoshi Dave Herman with 5 Elements Tactical Training, here to share with you some warrior skills and drills that anyone can learn and everyone should know. If you're new to the channel, welcome, and thanks for stopping by. If you already follow us on social media and that's how you found your way over to this channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the bell notification button, and YouTube will let you know when the next video drops, so you get all sorts of cool content from here as well. If you've been following our Self-Defense 101 series, hopefully by now you've already seen our video on how to avoid a fight, what to do in a fight first, and how to protect yourself. The first one is just about using your words and being aware of what's going on around you and walking your way out and talking your way out. The second one is just the basic stances that are very common in self-defense situations. And the third one was just about basically how do you cover and block and protect yourself against incoming attacks. This one's all about when to strike first, when to bring the fight to them. I'm big on walk your way out, talk your way out, run your way out. Whatever you have to do to avoid confrontation. You're not a chicken, you're not a coward, you're not a sissy, you're not a wuss or any of those things. You're doing the right thing to keep yourself safe, keep yourself out of trouble, not hurt somebody else, and all that type of stuff. However, in learning martial arts and learning self-defense, one of the very first things you got to make sure you understand is that when there is no choice but to fight, the best defense is a good offense. So I'm a firm believer in when in doubt, knock them out. Or at least try, If you're going to go down swinging. And today we're going to talk about strike first, strike hard, no mercy. So, all kidding aside, oftentimes the best defense is a good offense. If you can't talk your way out and walk your way out and run your way out, if you didn't spot the bad situation before it happened, or you wound up in the bad situation and you couldn't talk your way out of it, and all else fails, and you're like under attack or attack is imminent, well, that's when you learn how to ball up your fists and defend yourself appropriately. Fighting is always your last resort, your absolute positive last resort. But if you're going to fight, you got to win. Let's get started. All right, so a quick review. In previous videos, we talked about how to walk your way out and talk your way out. And we talked about, in a fight, do this first. And we said there were a few different types of stances. So you kind of had your oh my God, I don't want any trouble, your self-defense stance. The fight is imminent, your fighting stance. If they go to shove you and you have to shove back, or you have to bring the fight to them and you start shifting forward, it's a front stance. If they grab you and we're trying to fling you around or toss you around, you drop your hips back, spread your feet out, settle your weight like a baby that doesn't want to get picked up. That's your horse stance. The strikes we're going to cover, we're going to start real simple, man, simple techniques, and I'll show you a few different ways to throw each one. So the first one is called a jab. You basically, again, proper way to create a fist, curl your fingers as tight as you can, thumbs on the outside, always on the outside. Tight fist on impact, strong wrist so that your hand doesn't buckle or fold. For every closed fist technique, there's usually some sort of open hand variation so that, man, if you hit something hard, you're like, that hurt me, but the fight is still on, you could keep swinging. Just open your hands and start using the heel of your palm. You're not slapping, you're not, clawing or anything. You could claw, but when you're striking, to hurt somebody, it's either your first 2 knuckles or the heel of your palm. First technique, jab. So we're going to curl the fingers tight, thumbs on the outside, hands up, elbows in. If you're a righty, draw your right side back. If you're a lefty, draw your left side back. Keep your hands up to protect your head, your elbows in to protect your body, legs a little bit bent, eyes forward, chin down, ready to engage. A jab is going to be, I snap my closer hand to the opponent or closer hand to the target, snaps out and back, out and back, out and back. Try to breathe out as you exert yourself. Exhale through your mouth with your teeth closed. You don't want them to clip you in the chin with your mouth open, either bite your tongue or break your teeth. So try to get in the habit of, when you're practicing, you're moving around, try to keep your teeth closed. When you have mouth guards in, that makes it a lot easier too, because you got to try and keep it in place. So from here, the way a jab works, tight fist, strong wrist, I'm going to snap it out to the nose or to the eye, somewhere in the face. I mean, to the throat. Your hand might not fit in there. Just think of the head as a ball. Wherever the head turns, you're just aiming for the center of it, okay? So from here, jab, straight out, straight back. And it's like you're trying to snatch the pebble from my hand, out and back very fast. So you're not trying to knock their block off. You want quick. Second variation of that would be if your hand was open. Palm heel. Again, I'm not hitting with the center of my hand, but the bottom part. If these two bones pop through the bottom of through my hand, they would come through the bottom. So I'm hitting with the heel of my palm or a palm heel. Another variation might be one finger to the eye, or two fingers to the eyes, or the Mr. Spock, split them up and just, unless he does the Mo Larry Curly. This is your jab. It's a quick shot, not designed to knock him out, but just to like get him off, get him off, get him off. There's a saying in boxing, lead with speed, follow with power. This is your lead with speed so that you can follow with hopefully something a little bit more devastating or a little bit more powerful to facilitate your escape. All right, so the next one is called a cross. Karate, they call it a reverse punch. I'm sure it has some other names out there, but basic like Muay Thai, kickboxing, boxing, it's called a cross. It's a straight attack from your rear hand. So if you have your left side forward, it comes from your right hand. Again, fingers tight, thumbs on the outside, hands up, elbows in. It could be to the face, it could be to the body, and there are all different ways to deliver this. I like dropping their front hand so they can't block, and then you just kind of almost guaranteeing yourself that clear path to and crack them as fast and as hard as you can. One of the things that is most important to take into consideration is that you try not to wind up or load up, basically telling them what technique is coming. Two, it's not a, you're not throwing a baseball, so it's not like this type of swinging motion. It basically goes straight out, straight back, straight out, straight back. And again, you're driving the power from your hip, so you turn the hip turns the torso, torso drives the shoulder, shoulder drives the technique. Again, we're not looking at, oh, I'm aiming for this specific target. That comes later on. When I'm teaching most like self-defense 101, if you like somebody that wears glasses and everything is fuzzy and you just see like a ball on top of the shoulders, aim for the middle of the ball. Aim for the center. The more specific you get, the better you get at this. Of course, aim small, miss small, and that's a whole lesson for another day. For now, get your stance, get your guard, and just practice driving the hips, turning, shifting. Don't lead with your face, but turn, lean forward. Your weight will kind of go onto your front leg. Your front leg will be a little bit bent, back leg straight, and try to drive through. Now, this doesn't have to be to the head. It can be to the body or to the groin, but the idea is hands up, elbows in, drive. Drive, straight out, straight back. You hit him with the old 1-2 is that jab cross combination. If one hand is punching, the other one should be guard up. When the other one's punching, the other one's guard up. Again, there are open-handed variations. So if you hit something and you're like, ow, my hand, open it up and you could continue striking with the heel of your palm. It's not a slap. It's not a push. It's a strike. So I'm like trying to hit past this guy, and his body's the thing that's like preventing me from doing it. So if you open your hand, palm heel. Now this could be, again, to the chin. This could be to the nose. This could be to the eye. You could grab his head and put your thumb in his eye. There's a lot of different variations of it, but for basic purposes, tight fist, strong wrist, crack him in the center of the face or crack him in the center of the chest. If you feel your ribs to where your ribs kind of come up and meet, at the bottom of your sternum is your xiphoid process or your solar plexus is another good target. If they're taller than you or you get knocked to the ground, you got to punch. You could punch at the groin. Pretty much all the stuff along the center line are good targets. But again, for beginners, eyes, throat, groin are going to be your easiest targets because you can't develop muscle to protect those areas. Cross, reverse punch, cross, same. Get your stance, get your guard, aim for the center. Open it up, make it a palm heel, aim for the center. All right? That's your cross. All right, so the next punch that's really important to know is a hook punch. Now, a hook punch can come from either your lead hand or your rear hand. I've heard people say, oh, it's only good from the front or only good from the, like, hey, man, if you swing and it makes contact, it works. You want to do it in such a way that when you make contact, you hurt the intended target and not yourself. So, again, we curl the fingers tight, thumbs on the outside. Think like you want to make sure that your first two knuckles lead the way. Some people throw this as a vertical fist, like a thumbs up position. Some people throw it palm down. Personally, I like to throw it palm down because big poofy gloves on, like when we're doing like kickboxing, Muay Thai and stuff, I can get away with doing this and maybe grazing with the incorrect knuckles because it's the poofiness of the glove helps hide those mistakes. For bare knuckle training and for street self-defense purposes, I need to make sure that it's going to be my first two knuckles that make contact with the target. So when I throw it palm down, I lift my elbow up and I punch across. That's the easiest way to describe a hook punch. Again, you don't want to wind up, no loading up. If I do one of these things, they know it's coming. No good. Get your guard, hands up, elbows in. Whichever arm you're going to strike with, that's fine. Just lift the elbow up ever so slightly, like don't wind up, lift, turn the hips, turn the body, follow through. And again, you want your first two knuckles to be the thing that makes contact. So if it's a rear hand punch, elbow up, elbow up. I'm doing this like, don't do the two steps. Don't go 1, 2. Yes, elbow up, punch across, elbow up, punch across, elbow up, punch across, circular motion. And again, if you were doing it and you're like, my hand, same idea. You open it up and for this one, I would do it fingers up because I want to make sure that I'm, same idea as that, palm down, elbow up, moving across, open my hand so the palm heel is going to be the thing that makes the contact. Hook punch. There again, you have bridge hand is another variation, but that's not 101 stuff. When you throw your hook punch, just remember one hand stays up, one hand does the punch. One hand stays up, one hand does the punch. Elbow up, strike across. Elbow up, strike across. You could throw them to the body, you could throw them to the head. You throw them at base. If you were to fall down, they're going to be to the groin or into the leg. You'll hit them wherever the target is available. Aim for the center. If you're hitting the body, aim for the center of the thing that's in front of you. If you're hitting the head, aim for the center of the thing that's in front of you. All right, so we have the jab, cross, hook. The next one's the uppercut. So a very common misconception about an uppercut. So first of all, an uppercut is like Rockabye Baby in the treetop. This type of like swinging motion where you're striking in an upward motion. But it doesn't always have to be like under the chin and going upward. An uppercut could also be where you're hitting with the first part or the lower part of the trajectory of the punch, so the lower part of the flight path. So a lot of times in close, your uppercut is going to be here. So you're not turning your fist all the way over. It's kind of like in tight. If you get them doubled over, to the face. If they're standing upright and the height is right, to the chin. So again, you curl those fingers tight, thumbs on the outside, hands up, elbows in. Uppercut can come from either hand. It's typically more powerful from your rear hand. Most techniques are going to be more powerful from the rear and more fast or quicker from the lead hand. Lead with speed, follow with power. You generate less power because there's less hips behind a technique that comes from the front, whereas something that you drive your whole body behind won't be as fast, but typically is a little bit more powerful. Uppercuts are very like, they're typically for like in close fighting. Bobber doesn't have a hood on. But if I was to yank him, like grab him by his hair, grab him by his hood, grab him by the back of his shirt, grab him by the back of his neck, and pull him down from here, here's one shot, like hockey fights. If you ever watch hockey, they grab that jersey and yank it over their head, and the other hand just starts going to work, that's your uppercut. If you were wrestling around and somebody you were wrestling around and they're standing up, you get knocked down to your feet, uppercut could be to the groin, to the stomach. Again, to where the ribs and the solar plexus meet, right in there. But again, with your tight fist and your first two knuckles. An open hand variation would be if you were to hit, like, ow, 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 my hand, just open it up and keep swinging. More times than not in self-defense scenarios, the adrenaline is going, and not that you don't feel pain, man, but you're focused on that fight or flight. And again, if flight is not an option, fight and fight to win. So an uppercut, just imagine having a baby in your arm, Rockabye Baby in the treetop, to the body, to the groin, to the solar plexus, to the chin. If you have them doubled forward or like they were going to reach around your waist or something, you pull them down, pressure on the head, pulling their head down toward their own chest, and drive this way. Hooks and uppercuts work very well together for clinch fighting. Under, over, like under their arm or under their guard, over their arm or over their guard, uppercut. Another technique that's very handy, very useful, and very important for beginners to know is called a backfist. Backfist is good because it's really the motion of your arm that's more important than the specific technique, because there's so many variations of how you position your hand to accompany that motion. So a backfist is basically you point your elbow and strike backwards. It's not very powerful, but again, to the eyeball, to the eye socket, to the nose, like cowering away and just kind of swinging your arm. A lot of people do a back fist naturally without thinking much about it. Martial arts, it's supposed to be a snap technique, or there are other variations. But again, a back fist, if you're going to hit with the back of your knuckles, it's one of the only times that you're going to kind of like flex or bend your fist off of that straight, hold myself up in a knuckle push-up position type of position of your fist and wrist. And you do it so that your first two knuckles are what lead the way to strike either the eye, the nose, the jaw, the temple, the ear. But you could turn your hand palm down and it becomes a hammer fist. Like, get off of me, bang. Very, very useful. As you get better at it, you learn more techniques, and like even just blind, like swinging your arm, you could be throwing a knife hand, very effective to the neck, very effective to the collarbone, very, very effective to the throat or the eyes or the bridge of the nose. So it's more, again, a back fist is basically your stance, your guard, pointing the elbow, striking out and back, but it's the motion, it's that angle, that trajectory, that flight path of how you're throwing the punch that's more important than the actual position of your hand. The position of your hand is important for what technique you want to throw. So to just swing your hand out and back, it's not slapping somebody, but it's similar. Again, if you turn your hand palm down and ball it up real tight and crack them with what's called a hammer fist, very powerful. If you do it correctly, it's very powerful and pretty easy on your hand. Like there's not so much risk of hurting your hand when you're doing something like that. Or if you're going to hurt your hand, hopefully you're hurting them just as much. So you have your back fist, you have a hammer fist, you have a knife hand, and if you just like, oh my God, and just flailed and swung your whole arm, very effective too is to hit with the forearm. So the technique is called a back fist. Another reason why a back fist is good is because it gives you another angle. So I'm just going to shift Bob for a second here. So if I'm standing this way and his hand is in the way for my jab, so I want to jab, but his hand is in the way, a hook punch will sneak around his guard to one side. So it's kind of like a sneaky attack to this side over here. A back fist, I kind of get my elbow up to his guard and extend my fist. So it's a sneaky punch that sneaks around the other way. So Bob is facing me as if he was a southpaw or a lefty. If I shift him around and make him be a righty, I'm a righty, he's a righty. So again, with that guard up, I sneak around the guard with my hook, or I sneak around his guard with my back fist, or I drop his guard and throw a jab, or I go between his hands and I throw my jab, follow with my cross, hook punch to the body, uppercut to the body, hook punch to the face, cross to the face. And this is how you basically take your jab, your cross, your hook, your uppercut, and your back fist and kind of put them together and use them for strike first, strike hard, no mercy. As we go into further videos, we'll be attacking the groin, working variations of kicks and different types of kicks that are easy for beginners to learn and easy for them to pick up and kind of be good at right out of the gate. There's a lot of techniques that they're just very intricate and challenging, and that's why if you were to study martial arts or any combat sport, they come later on. But there's some stuff that you could learn pretty quickly and get good at pretty quickly that would keep you pretty safe in a, God forbid, street self-defense situation. So again, as part of our Self-Defense 101 series, the object is to just keep it simple. If you learned something somewhere else and you were told to hold your fist a different way or keep your guard a different way, do whatever works for you. But keep it simple. Get a good stance, a good guard, get your eyes forward, get some practice either on some bags, maybe your gym has a heavy bag, or you have somebody that you can practice with at home or at work or wherever. Just have some fun with it, but practice it. It's not just watching videos or reading books. All those things are great tools and very helpful, but the real mastery comes from putting it into action. Try it, practice it, see what works, see what doesn't work. And just stay safe. Keep yourself safe. So if you like what I'm teaching and preaching, go ahead and give me a thumbs up and like this video. If you're loving it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you gotta have it, go ahead and hit that bell notification button, and YouTube will let you know when the next video drops. If you're really digging it and would like more, you can find us on all social media platforms at 5 Elements Tactical. Well, that's all I got for now, Warriors. So until our paths cross again, pray for the best, prepare for the rest. I'm Kyoshi Dave Herman with 5 Elements Tactical Training. Thanks for watching.